Okay, so will you grab lights, Megan, please? Okay, so this is. I'm getting it. Okay, so this is going to be review. So listen up. I'm hoping I can kind of fix some of the issues that I've been seeing the past couple days on the homework.
Thanks, dude.
So, as we look at this is notes number
5.
Is this 5? Okay. These are notes number 5, so put that up in the right-hand corner. I will be checking at the end of the unit, so the test will be not next week, the week before, or the week after. And I will be checking the notes. It should be easy 10 points because either you can get them in class if you're here or get them on Google Classroom and watch the video. Okay, so I want to kind of try to fix a couple of the issues that I have been seeing the past week or so. Okay, so if we look at the table on the left side, tells us what we are doing. If I am adding or subtracting monomials, you combine like terms. You do not change the variables or exponents. So if I look at number 1 real quick, you have to look at what you are doing with the two monomials. I am subtracting them. You do nothing with the exponents. You only combine the coefficients if they are the exact same variable and exponents. These are both x squared y, so you just combine the coefficients. What is 9 minus 10? Negative 1, so you can just put a negative, and you keep the variable and exponent part the same. So when you are adding or subtracting, if they are the exact same, you add or subtract the coefficients, the number in front, and you do not change the common variable and exponent parts. So that's one issue I've seen. So you have to look and say, okay, what am I doing with the monomials? I am subtracting them or I am adding them. The second rule we talked about is the product rule. This is when I am, obviously, product means multiplying. If you notice, I am multiplying two monomials together, you have to use the product rule, which all the product rule says, if I am multiplying, what do I do with my exponents? Add them. So the math is not hard. You know how to add numbers together. You just have to get used to saying, I'm multiplying, so I add the exponents. If I looked at 2, this is what I mean. You have to recognize I am multiplying these two monomials. There's not a plus in between them. There's not a minus in between them. I am multiplying them. The coefficients you treat like normal numbers. What is negative 2 times 7? Negative 14. The exponents are the ones that you add. So a to the 2 plus 3 is the 5th. Yep. 1 plus 1, b to the second. You know how to add things together. You just have to look and be able to recognize I am multiplying these together. So you multiply the coefficients and you add the exponents. The power rule is when I am raising something to another exponent. If there is an exponent on the outside, that is the product rule. So you have to notice I'm taking a monomial and raising it to another power. What do I do with my exponents when I'm raising it to another power? Multiply. So again, you know how to multiply numbers, and if you don't, there's a calculator for that. You know how to multiply numbers. You have to be able to recognize I'm raising it to another power, so I multiply. So if I look at 2 to the side, this example to the side, I notice I am multiplying these together, but I cannot combine them because I have that first one, the one on the left, I'm raising to the second power. So I have to take this to the second power, and then I can multiply them together. So, negative 2, your coefficient, treat like normal. What's negative 2 squared?
Negative 4.
Negative 2 squared?
4.
Positive 4. Any negative number squared is always positive, so positive 4. M to the, I'm raising it to another power, so I do what with my exponents? So m to the 10th. You know how to multiply, you have to recognize I'm taking that monomial and squaring the whole thing. So you multiply your exponents. Because it's 5 times the 2. well, we haven't got to it, times m to the third. Now I'm multiplying 2 together. So since I'm multiplying 2 together, what do I do with my exponents? Add them. So m to the 13th. So you have to recognize I'm raising it to another power, so I multiply. I'm adding, or I'm multiplying, so I add the exponents.
Wait, can you zoom out a lot for a second? A little more?
Good? Okay. No, you're good. Quotient rule. Quotient means dividing. So if you notice that we are dividing, if you recognize, oh, I'm dividing two monomials, then what do I do with the exponents? Subtract them. It's the opposite of when I multiply, I add. So when I divide, I subtract. So this will be a minus b. Now you may have to simplify the top and bottom first, but once you get the top and bottom simplified, then you subtract your exponents. If I look at 1 like 2 down here, I cannot divide these yet, because what do I have to do first on top? Multiply your exponents. I'm raising it to a second power. When you raise it to another power, you multiply. So y to the fourth over y to the fourth. I notice that I am dividing, so what do I do with my exponents? 4 minus 4, so y to the 0. What's anything to the 0 power? No, you don't. What's anything to the 0 power? 1. So you could either do it this way, or you could notice if they're the exact same thing, you can just cross them out, that gives you 1. So either way, you don't have to necessarily put y to the 0. If you have the same thing on top and bottom, you just cross them out and it gives you 1. So hopefully you're kind of recognizing these. I just wanted to spend a day kind of reviewing them so you could kind of digest these a little for a couple of days more. Okay, negative exponent. If I have a negative exponent, what do I do with it? Yep, move it either to the top or the bottom. X to the negative a is currently on top, so we're going to move it 1 over x to the positive a. Mistake I've noticed. When you move it, you change the sign to positive. Take your headphones out. Other side, thank you. So this is x to the negative a. So when I move it to the bottom, you have to change the sign to a positive. I've seen that mistake a few times. Okay, let's look at 2. Okay, what do I notice is happening between these two monomials? I'm dividing. So look at your coefficients and divide. Can I do 4 divided by 8?
Yeah.
It's not 8 divided by 4. So reduce the fraction. What does the fraction 4 over 8 reduce to? 1/2. 1 over 2, good. And then k, we are dividing, so you subtract the exponent. 2 minus 5. You always start up at the top, so k to the negative third. I don't like that negative exponent, so where do I move it? 1 over 2, k to the third. So when you move it to the bottom, you make it a positive 3. Yes, I'm going to do a couple examples on your homework, but it's less you have to do for homework. So, okay. So let me pass out the homework. I'm going to do a couple of these with you real quick. Yes, let me do a couple with you and I'll let you go.
Be a good friend.
Your lips, you didn't see dipper.
Oh.
I love your hair.
Good.
I'm sorry.
I'm closer. I'm closer actually than the flippy thing. She didn't. Yes, she did.
Okay. So I will do a couple of these with you. Okay, listen up. What? Okay. I'll go through a couple. I'll be nice and let you choose which one you want.
11.
21? Okay. You're like, it's the last one. It's probably the hardest. We'll see. Okay. So let's look at 21. Listen up. So, 21, you have to look at what we are doing. I notice I'm dividing. So on the left, I notice I'm dividing. However, I cannot start dividing these because listen up. What do I notice I have to do on top before I can start dividing them? Simplify it. I'm squaring the entire thing on top. So you have to recognize I am taking a monomial and squaring it. So let's do that. Negative 6 squared. 36, you treat. Just a second. Let me explain it. 36, you square that coefficient like normal. So negative 6 squared. I am raising it to another exponent. So what do I do with my exponents? Multiply. 5 times 2. 1 times 2. B to the second. Over 12. A to the 7th. B. That didn't change. Minus 8. A to the 3rd. B. I notice the top is now simplified. I don't have it raised to a power. So now I can go through and do the division part. 36 divided by 12. 36 divided by 12. 3. Now I am dividing. So what do I do with my exponents? 10 minus 7. A to the 3rd. 2 minus 1. B to the 1st, or just B. Minus the 8 A cubed B. Now, I did the division part. I notice I am subtracting two monomials. Can I actually subtract these two?
Yeah.
Yes, they are the exact. A to the 3rd B, so I can actually subtract. So, 3, listen up. 3 minus 8, you subtract the coefficients. 3 minus 8, negative 5. Now when you add or subtract, you do not change your variables and exponents. So it's negative 5, a to the 3rd, b.
Don't know.
I have a serious question.
Yes.
How did you get 36a?
Because you multiply your exponents. You good? Okay, I'll be nice and do 20. Okay. As I look, there's a couple options with this. Okay, so listen up, guys, because I don't have to do. I can make you do it, guys. So as I look at 20, there are a couple of different options. What is one way I can do with 20?
Just do the top part and then click.
No, nice try though.
Alright.
So you could separate it. You could take the top to the 4th and the bottom to the 4th, which is fine. Or what else could I do? Do what? Divide first and then take it to the 4th. So let's go ahead and divide first and then take it to the 4th. So let's go ahead, and this is a little different. So if you choose to take the top to the 4th and the bottom to the 4th, you'll get the same answer. Let's divide and then take the whole thing to the 4th. So if I divide in my parentheses, 3 over 1 will be 3. Subtract your exponents, x to the
100.
5 minus 3, x to the 2nd. Now look at your y. We are subtracting because we're dividing. 3 minus 6, negative 3. Check that negative. Is 3 to the negative, or 3 minus 6, so negative 3.
We need to put all that over 1 and get it.
Well, just a second.
Before we do the 4th thing?
Just a second. So now it's to the 4th. So you could either put y to the 3rd on the bottom first, but I'm going to go ahead and raise it to the 4th power now, and then I'll deal with that. So sometimes there's, like, you can kind of do different orders. You'll end up with the same thing. Okay, now I am taking this to the 4th power. So what is 3 to the 4th? 81. Okay, now my exponents, I'm raising it to the 4th power. So what do I do with my exponents?
Multiply.
So x to the
8.
y to the negative 12th,
Ooh.
because I still have a negative 3 here.
I'm ahead of you.
Okay, you're fine. Now, I don't like the negative exponent, so how do I get rid of it?
Put a 1 above it.
Move it to the bottom. So y to the positive 12. So there's a couple different ways you could have done this. You will end up with the same thing if you do it correctly. You could have split it up and did fourth and a fourth and whatever, but that should get you started. Okay, so listen up. I did the two hardest ones with you. So get done, listen up. Homework 4, if you don't have it done, get that done first. If you have homework 4 done, then finish this up. Okay? This is all review, so it shouldn't take too terribly long.